Hi guys, Linnea here. Wanted to talk to you a little bit today. I had a requested video for some information, and it's a subject I don't know a whole lot about. As far as others go, I know what I do. This for me is an amulet. It is something I wear most every day, and it has magical powers. An amulet typically has magical powers. For me, this holds in it a few herbs and some things that I probably won't mention. And it also has in it the ashes of my mother-in-law, and my sister. Just a little bit of everybody. And I wear this daily. It has been charged and enchanted to keep me safe, to protect me from evil eye, outside negativity, and just a general protection amulet, as well as some other things. So it's an amulet. Amulets are typically magical in use. So this is an amulet. I've been asked to kind of describe the differences between amulets and talisman and other things. Talisman, in my experience, are typically used in ceremony or magic. Talisman can be just about anything. It can be a bundle of herbs that you use in a magic spell. It can be, for me, I use talisman as jewelry in ceremony. So when I am working with my ancestors, for instance, I have this necklace that may not look like much. It's kind of wound here at the bottom. It's got wooden beads on it, and it's got these other beads. Now this necklace was handmade by my mother. These beads are salt flower water beads that my mother made, and that is why I use this necklace when I'm working with my ancestors. My mother made it. My mother passed in 1983. Sorry, my grandmother passed in 83. My mother passed in 2003. And I wear this necklace when I'm working with my ancestors. This to me is a talisman. So that's what I use when I'm working with my ancestors. When I'm having ceremony with my goddess, I typically wear this. It is a magic wand. It's made out of amethyst and moonstone. And I've charged it to do certain things. You can charge a talisman to do just about anything when you're working in ceremony. And this is just the way I do it. This is not the way you have to do it. And you can certainly research talisman and amulets and so on to do things the way you choose to do them. This is just the way I choose to do it. And it may not be the way others do it. And then I have this opalite ring that was given to me by a very dear friend, who is also a witch, and I use this during ceremony as well. I often use it to conjure and to do ceremony with my goddess. It doesn't want to focus here. There we go. Oh, there we go. It's hand wrapped with copper, and it's an opalite, which I know is man-made, but it holds a lot of power because it's been magically enchanted so many different times for so many different purposes. I use it often also when I'm working with herbs magically. So it's got a lot of power. So I use those items as talisman, and I keep them in my little dish, and I typically keep that on an altar, one or more of my altars, just depending on what I'm doing at the moment. And so I have that. I have my ancestor talisman. And then I was asked about symbols. So the way I was brought up and taught, a sigil is something that you use in a magic working, and when you are done with that working, the sigil is typically burned to bring its power forth. This is the way I was taught. This is not typically the way I hear a lot of people using it for. but this is the way I was taught. That is what it's used for. A sigil. A sigil that becomes something you reuse over and over, or keep, is it then becomes a symbol, a private symbol. Now I have many symbols, and I do have most of them memorized. Some of them I do have to continually look up. For some reason, there's one in particular I cannot seem to remember to save my life, and it's my power symbol. And it's because it's a complicated one, and that's my own fault. But um, basically, I remember most of them. So, but to make a symbol for yourself, you do it the way you do a sigil. And I'm just going to give you a quick example of that. So let me find a blank page here. And this is my to-do list, so ignore that part. So let's say you want to make a spell for protection. You want to be sure you're concise. You want to be sure you're precise. You want to be sure that the statement you make is to the point completely. So if it's for your home, for instance, you want to say my home is protected at all times, something like that. That way you're not leaving it open. You're not being open-ended, like my home is protected. When is your home protected? How is your home protected? You want to be precise about your spell, so your symbol. So let's say you're writing my home is protected at all times. So we're going to write that, and we're going to write it in capitals. My home, I said capitals and then didn't use all capitals. Sorry, I'm slow. So then what you're going to do with your little statement here is you're going to go through and make sure that each letter is only one. So you've got M, so you're going to cross out the next M. You don't want that. So home has no M. You go through times has no M. So you're going to cross those out. Then you look at your Y. Is there any other Y's? No, there's not. Then you look at your H. No other H's. You look at your O. So you're going to keep that O, and you're going to cross out all other O's. So protected. And you're going to go through your list and do that. Here, so all these other E's go out. You keep that S, so all the other S's go out. You're going to keep that C, no other C's. You're going to keep that D, no other D's. That A, that L, so that L goes out. Okay, and so what you should end with is a stack of letters that don't have any doubles. So then you're going to write those letters out in capitals. So you've got, and you're going to keep them together. O-I-S-P-R-T-D-A-L. So those are your letters. That's what you have left. And now you make your symbol from that. So you make your symbol however you like to make it. But you want it to represent your letters in some form, and your home. So I've seen people draw a house with implements of the letters in them. And I'm just going to kind of make something up as we do this, because I don't need this symbol. So let's say you want a triangle in there, and your triangle could represent your P. Your triangle could also represent your, if you add a little thing there, it could represent your T. It could also represent your R if you put, and your D. Let's say we're going to put a little circle in there. And this is not going to look pretty, guys, because we're just kind of ho-hoing through there. I'm going to put that there. kind of a, that could be for the S too. Okay, so, excuse me. I basically represented that, 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 that. You could say that, and that. So this basically represents every letter. So you've got, like, you could count this as an M, sorry, a T, an L. This, oops, this could also be counted as a T or an L. This triangle, look, I'm going the wrong way here, could be counted as a P or a D. The circle in the middle could count as the O as well as an S because you've got the curves, or the D as well. So you just kind of make a symbol that represents maybe your letters and your home. I've got a roof here. I've got a wall. So my home is protected at all times. This is a decent sigil. Is it one you'll remember? You want to keep that in mind. And you can add to or take from whatever you want to do with your symbol. Now this becomes a symbol. It can also be a sigil that you will use in a spell one time and then burn. Unless you don't believe in that, then you can call it a sigil and use it for eternity. Completely up to you. But this is how I do my symbols, and this is how I do my sigils, the same exact way. So you know who you are, who asked me for this video. I hope that it helped. I hope that it gave you some guidance, and I hope that if you don't agree with the way I do things, then you'll be kind enough not to necessarily leave a shady comment, and just understand it's the way that I do it. And we don't all have to do things the same way. That's what makes us unique and different. And yeah. So remember that you're all divine and sacred beings of light and love, and I love each and every one of you dearly. And I hope to see you tomorrow afternoon for the big couple of drawings we're doing. One for newer huggers and that are interested. Remember, you have to be interested. And one for my team that was around before and didn't get chosen. So I hope to see you then. Remember, I love you all, thinking of you, and I hope you have a great afternoon.